Hey YouTube, Brando here. So we're going to finally start doing some rabbit videos. I took a couple notes here. This is going to be my top 5 meat rabbit videos, and this is meat for the dinner table, not for selling to processors or even selling to friends and family. This is just top 5 rabbits if you're just trying to put meat on the table. I've got a little bit of info here that helped me when I first started out, so maybe it'll help you. One doe, this is a full-size doe, medium breed doe, New Zealand, California, and things like that, can produce 70 to 95 pounds of meat a year. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so we're going to go over this more in another video, but I just wanted to go over the numbers real quick. One Cali, and this is from my own personal experience, one Californian can eat about 5 pounds of feed every 2 weeks. Alright, so you're looking at about 10 pounds a month. So you're going to at least need a trio. You're going to want 2 does and a buck. Altogether, let's see, you're looking at about 30 pounds a month. If you times that by 12, that's what, 360 pounds a year in feed. So about 360 pounds of feed each year for 3 rabbits is what they're going to consume. But those 3 rabbits will produce, we'll say conservatively, 150 pounds of meat in that year. Those 2 does should produce 150 pounds of meat. So, and again, we'll get more in depth with that when we go into the why to raise rabbits for meat video. We're going to do a whole nother video in this series. We're going to do a couple, and we're actually fixing to start raising rabbits again. I just have to get the lumber to build the hutches and all that good stuff, and I'll show you how I set up my hutches where nice and easy, maintenance free. So let's talk about your top 5 meat rabbits, and I'm going to switch these up a bit. I'm actually redoing this video because there's a lot of different reasons people raise meat rabbits. Some raise them to sell, some raise them to eat. So this is going to be just for if you're trying to feed your family with rabbits. So let me see what number would be what. So okay, number 5 is going to be Palomino. It's a great meat rabbit, but not raised as much as like New Zealand's or Calis, which are my next 2, I believe. They're not raised as much as New Zealand's or Calis, mostly because they have a golden pelt. And a lot of times, people that raise meat rabbits will keep the pelts to sell as well. However, that's kind of hard because the rabbit needs to be older for the pelt to be good, needs to be younger for the meat to be good. So, but we're just talking about for the dinner table. So Palomino is going to be my number 5 rabbit. Okay, number 4. Alright, so we just talked about them, Californians. This is what we raised last time we were doing rabbit videos. They have a white pelt, black face, ears, feet. They're my number 4 meat rabbit, and a lot of times you'll find Californians are crossed with New Zealand's. I don't know why they do this, but they both make great meat rabbits, and that brings me to my number 3 meat rabbit, which is a New Zealand. By the way, a Californian gets about 9 pounds. New Zealand gets about 10 to 11 pounds. It's a good multi-purpose rabbit, and it has ultra-fine bones. They're easy to breed. New Zealand's are very easy to breed. So are Californians, and both are heat and cold tolerant. It's a great first choice for new breeders. If you're just getting into breeding rabbits, I would say your best bet is going to be Californians or New Zealand's. So that covers, what did we go through? Oh, by the way, just a side note, Giants aren't good meat rabbits. Checkered, Flemish, Chinchilla, none of them are good meat rabbits. They all eat too much, have big bones, so they'll produce less meat per pound when they process them, or when you process them. Also, they need large hutches, nesting boxes, etc. Just too much maintenance on Giants, so just don't even think about breeding Giants for meat. Same thing with dwarves, they're too small. that was just a quick side note. So where are we? We're at number 4. We did number 3. So number 2 is going to be a Champagne. Now most people would put either New Zealand or Californian as their number 2 and number 1 usually, but Champagne's a great meat rabbit. It's 10.5 pounds, somewhere in there, and most often they dress out better than New Zealand's or Cali's. So you get more meat per pound when they're processed out. And again, if you're just trying to put meat on the dinner table, Champagne's going to be my number 2 choice. Now, most of the time I wouldn't suggest any smaller breeds, but if you don't have a lot of space and you're just trying to produce meat for the dinner table, these next ones, they eat a lot less than any of the other ones I've mentioned, and it's tans. Tans are good rabbits. They produce less per litter than, say, New Zealand's, but they eat about half the feed and take up less space. They also have finer bones, and they grow pretty fast. So, you know, that's why these are going to take the number 1 spot for me. Tans. Most people won't go in for a small breed rabbit when they're trying to just raise for meat. But if you're just trying to put meat on your dinner table, tans are your best bet. They're going to eat less. That 360 pounds a year for 3. You could pretty much cut that number in half, and you're not going to be producing half the meat. You're going to be producing more meat per pound on the rabbits. So your feed is going to last you a lot longer, cost you less money, and you're going to get just as much meat. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to get 150 pounds of meat out of 2 does. You'll probably get half that, or a little more than half that. But if you do the math, you'll get more meat per pound of feed out of tans than you will any other breed out there. And this is coming from quite a few different sources. One is a buddy who actually, he raised rabbits for many years, raised many different breeds, and tans was his favorite. So he got me doing a lot of research on it, and believe it or not, there's a lot of people who produce meat just for their dinner table, and a lot of them are in urban environments. They're in, they have small yards, and so they have to build small hutches, and tans are so small they barely take up any space. I mean, you could literally do a 3-tier hutch and do it 2 wide or 4 wide and 2 deep. You could have a whole lot of rabbits in that little bitty space when you're raising tans. So that's why they're going to be my number 1. Also, it's a good show rabbit. If you're looking to start selling show rabbits, tans make great show rabbits. People love them. They're a little harder to work with than a lot of other rabbits, but I'm going with tans for my number 1. In fact, I think if we start breeding again, we'll probably go back with Californians, but if I don't, I'm going with tans. And the other reason I say Californians is because we're looking to produce more than just meat for the table, and we're going to cover that in our next video. So that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching, YouTube.